Allegedly raped by a 41-year-old man, and Hillary Clinton defended that man accused of sexually assaulting her. Here's her story.
At 12 years old, Hillary put me through something that you've never put a 12-year-old through.
In 1975, Hillary Clinton, then a public defense attorney, she defended a 41-year-old man that was accused of raping a 12-year-old girl.
It would be very hard for me not to walk up and smack her. I know that sounds mean. I mean, she put me through a lot at 12 years old.
Her client, she represented, got him off, and she's seen laughing on 2 separate occasions.
Took a lot of different tests. I had to follow her. And she passed. She forever destroyed my faith.
She hasn't even thought about even coming to me and saying, I'm sorry. You know, that'd be nice after what she said on tape.
What happens if that daughter of yours, if that would have been her? I mean, you would have protected her where you don't know me, so I'm a piece of crap to you.
And earlier today, I spoke to Kathy Shelton and her attorney, Candace Jackson. Watch this. Let's go back. You're 12 years old. You went through a vicious, violent rape. You were in a coma as a result for 5 days, stitched up. As a result, you can't have children?
99% chance that I can't.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much saying no.
And you had that, you learned that at the time?
Yes, the doctor came in and told me that before I was released.
Mm-hmm. Walk us through what happened in your case when you were 12 years old.
My mom was sending me to church with some friends that was a couple blocks away, and I wanted to ride my bicycle because it was still light. And after it was over, she was going to pick me and the bicycle up. But before I made it there, I was yanked off the bicycle by 2 guys, which one was underage, so they're not able to bring him up. Mm-hmm. I was taken on a road. I was trying to get out. First, I told them I wasn't going with them, and I was going to try to leave, and they wouldn't let me. They yanked me off the bicycle, and I was taken out on a road somewhere. And by that time, pretty much my clothes was ripped off of me, and I was screaming and crying, and I couldn't get nobody's attention. It was like this road, all I could see was fields, and they raped me there, and they beat me so bad that I think they thought I was dead when they left. But I remember him saying, "You like it, don't you? You like it. You want more of it."
You're 12 years old. You were in a coma for 5 days after?
Yes, sir. I crawled to a porch that I still don't know where it is to this day, and they were coming back to finish me off, and this lady turned her porch light on. I was told it was a lady, is how I know that. I have no idea who it is today, and that's what saved me. She got their tag number, and I fell out at that time, and I woke up 5 days later.
And it was so brutally violent, you needed stitches. You were brutally raped.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hillary Clinton said she did a favor for a friend to be the attorney for the accused in this case. And as we just played, I had him take a polygraph test, which he passed, which forever destroyed my faith in polygraphs. And then she laughed. She was bragging about getting this guy off. Now, he faced 30 years to life. He ended up getting off with time served. So my question to you is, when you hear those words and her bragging about that case, a fascinating case as she calls it, what is she communicating there?
That she's going to win her first case, whatever it takes, if she has to lie, cheat, or steal.
Doesn't it also imply that she thinks he's guilty?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Which forever destroyed my faith in polygraphs.
Oh yeah, she thinks he's guilty, or she wouldn't have said that.
As part of the court filings in this case...
I don't think she thinks, she knows.
She knew?
Yes, she knew he was guilty.
As part of the court filings, she filed an affidavit, and she wrote that she had been informed, this is talking about you, the victim, was a girl that was emotionally unstable, had a tendency to seek out older men and engage in, quote, fantasizing. I'd also been told by an expert in child psychology that children in early adolescence tend to exaggerate or romanticize sexual experiences, and adolescents in disorganized families, such as complainants, are even more prone to exaggerate behavior.
My mom was a very strict mother on me. Matter of fact, when I was 18, it was almost impossible to do anything then, but at that time, after what happened to me, I didn't want to do anything.
Understandable.
All of those things, Sean, that Hillary Clinton put in that affidavit were intended to force Kathy to undergo further psychiatric evaluations and interrogations. They were all things that were intended to portray her as a liar, someone who made up this rape, that if there was a rape, that if there was sex, it was consensual at her age as a virgin of 12 years old. And all of those tactics are things that you would never expect some sort of women's rights advocate to engage in, because
Isn't that blaming the victim?
that is blaming the victim.
Don't we have rape shield laws that prohibit this now?
Almost every state now would prohibit those tactics, and you would expect someone like Hillary Clinton, some sort of self-proclaimed feminist who cares about women and children, to not need a rape shield law in order to zealously defend a client without engaging in the tactics of blaming the victim.
Kathy, obviously this has impacted you your whole life. What do you want the American people to hear out of this? It's pretty obvious she knew this guy was guilty.
Just about every speech that I've seen Hillary do, she says, I'm for women and children. And if she was for children, she would have not put me through what I went through.
Last question. This election is in 26 days. She's running as, isn't it time for a woman to be president of the United States?
Not like that. The world won't last with her in it, because she's going to lie, cheat, and steal to get what she wants.
And also tonight, over the course of several decades, Bill Clinton has faced numerous allegations of sexual misconduct, and Hillary Clinton has been accused of attacking the women who have made these accusations about her husband. In 1978, Juanita Broaddrick claimed that she was raped in a hotel room by the future president. In 1993, while serving as a volunteer at the White House, Kathleen Willey accused Bill Clinton of groping and fondling and grabbing and touching and kissing her against her will. And in 1994, Paula Jones sued Bill Clinton for allegedly exposing himself to her, resulting in an $850,000 settlement. Here are their stories.
Sexual harassment is shocking enough without having the President of the United States accused of it.
What Mr. Clinton did to me was wrong.
Then he kissed me on my mouth and pulled me closer to him.
You begged him to stop?
Yes. And then he took my hand and he put it on him.
I have said that nothing improper happened.
Bill Clinton raped me and Hillary Clinton threatened me.
I am mystified and disappointed by this turn of events.
I have been telling the truth.
Before I testified in the Paula Jones case, a stranger approached me, mentioned my 13-year-old cat who had disappeared, my tires which had been vandalized, and asked how my children by name were, and said, "You're just not getting the message."
This is about what Hillary Clinton is doing to women like me so that she can attain the presidency. She wants us all to be quiet.
The great story here is this vast right-wing conspiracy that has been conspiring against my husband since the day he announced for president.
And she came over to me, took a hold of my hand and said, "I've heard so much about you." She was just holding on to my hand. She didn't, because I had started to turn away from her. She held on to my hand and she said, "Do you understand everything that you do?" I mean, cold chills went up my spine.
In the end, I know I will get my good name and reputation back.
That's the first time I became afraid of that woman.
And earlier I spoke with Juanita Broaddrick, Paula Jones, and Kathleen Willey. Take a look. Thank you all for being here.
Oh,
thanks.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
You were invited to the second debate, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and you all came willingly. You wanted to go. Why?
I wanted to support Donald Trump, first and foremost. But I think that the thing that we wanted to get over, the thing that's most important to me and to us, is to tell the women, especially the younger women in this country, and the older women, and everybody, that everybody in the mainstream press is calling
all of Bill Clinton's crimes infidelities. Rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment are not infidelities. They are crimes and they are misdemeanors. His wife is covering for him. No champion of women attacks the victims of sexual assaults and rapes.
Paula?
The same thing. I just want to remind the young people that doesn't know our stories and maybe have seen us for the first time, and I wanted them to see that we were there and why we were there, and that hopefully that would have made a statement.
Juanita?
Yeah, I think it's really important for the millennials to know, those that weren't born when I came forward after Bill Clinton raped me, and those that were too young to understand what we went through, especially the time that it was back in the 70s. It was very hard for someone to come forward. And so, yes, I did go to the Trump debate. I thought that we might possibly be able to bring this out and influence people and be able to tell them that Hillary is not for all women. Hillary is only for one woman, and that's herself.
I think you raise a really good point, because I think there is this whole generation of people that do not know your stories.
Right.
Over the years, I've had the opportunity to get to know all of you and interview all of you. And really, I think the more important thing today is, considering this is even in the news today, with Donald Trump, has the mainstream media been receptive to asking you three about your stories?
Oh, definitely not.
Nobody?
No.
Nobody's asked.
No. Nobody has asked.
No,
The New York
no.
Times never called you?
No.
Not until we went into the Trump spin room.
Okay, well,
And
they were
that
there.
was- yeah.
But in other words, because this is a really important point, because they're all reporting today, Donald Trump did this, or kissed this person or that person. You're saying that none of these media outlets contacted you in this election campaign?
Nothing like CNN.
To tell your story?
Or NBC, or ABC, or CBS.
What, with 26 days to go, and they haven't contacted you? Does that reek of politics to you?
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Should tell you something.
Yeah.
Well, let me give you the opportunity for those people that have never heard your story. Well, Juanita, we'll start with you.
Back in 1978, when I was working for Bill Clinton's campaign for governor, I was raped by Bill Clinton. I was viciously raped. And then 3 weeks later, when I happened to be at a fundraiser for him, but I didn't attend the fundraiser. I was just going there to hand in information to tell them I was no longer going to volunteer for the campaign. Hillary personally threatened me.
Let me go back to the assault. You're saying you were a nurse at the time, correct?
Yes.
And you wanted him to be governor?
Yes.
At the time. You were working for his campaign?
Right.
So he invited you for coffee?
Yes, it was a long story. After he made a campaign tour around to my nursing home, I was trying to explain to him, Sean, about what the nursing homes were going through. The reimbursement method was horrible. And he seemed generally interested. He wanted to hear what I had to say. So he said, if you're ever in Little Rock again, he said, call me. Let's get together and talk about these things. And as you know, we were supposed to meet in the coffee shop at the hotel while I was staying. When he got to the hotel, he called and asked if we could meet in the room instead. This was the Attorney General. I didn't fear anything would happen.
And you went up to the room?
No, I was already in the room.
Yeah.
I had sent my friend that was with me, one of my employees, Norma Kelsey, on down to the meeting, and I said, when I get through at the meeting, get through at the coffee shop with Bill Clinton, I'll be right on to the meeting. And of course, I never showed up.
And this was a violent sexual attack?
Yes.
And when it was over, there was this moment you told me the first time I interviewed you that he said to you as he's walking out the door.
He says, you better get some ice on that, referring to my lip, which was bleeding, and at least by that time, was 4 times the size that it should be. I was frightened he was going to bite my lip off.
And you immediately told your friend what had happened?
Yeah, she came to the room when I didn't show up for the meeting.
Yeah.
And she just came out here approximately 2 to 3 weeks ago. She's been frightened to come out. and told to, to the Breitbart people the condition that she found me in. And it's just, when I reread what she told from back then, it was painful to even hear it from her again, how she found me. I knew how I was, but it was hard.
You told her, did you tell other people at the time too?
Yes, about 4 to 5 others.
And they've all corroborated your story.
Yes.
You told them at the time.
Yes.
But he was the Attorney General. You were afraid to speak publicly or report it.
Oh, he could close the doors of my business. Yeah, they say, well, why didn't you go to the police? He was the police. He was the main person in Arkansas, the Attorney General, and then he became the governor.
What about this run-in you had with Hillary? How long after the event? It was 3 weeks?
About 3 weeks.
And what happened? And
Okay.
they were married at the time.
Yes, I went up early to the fundraiser. Everybody misquotes and says, well, why did she go to a fundraiser? I did not go to a fundraiser. I had about 3 or 4 checks, list of people that were going to donate to the campaign. And when I was clearing out everything for the campaign, I found these. And I knew that the lady from Little Rock was going to be there that night. I don't want to be in the campaign any longer, something like, my business is taking too much of my time, something to that effect. So I did give her these things, and then just when we were starting to leave, about 20 minutes before the fundraiser began, a gentleman, a pharmacist in the area who was very much for Bill Clinton, but didn't know my story, he didn't know anything, came over to me and was so excited because he said the topic of the conversation the entire way from the airport was Bill and Hillary Clinton asking questions about you. So that's when I turned to my friend and I said, let's go. But as he steps away, here comes Hillary, straight to me.
Beeline to you.
Beeline. She comes straight to me and says to me, big smile, very pleasant voice, says to me, I'm Hillary Clinton. It's so nice to meet you. I just want to thank you for everything that you do for Bill's campaign. And I was just going to turn and leave. I nodded, was going to leave. And then I feel somebody grabbing my arm, and I thought it was somebody behind me. And it was her, and she pulls me back close to her. And she pulls me into her.
Forcefully, in a way, pulled you.
Yeah, oh yeah. With one hand of hers, she's got my hand. With the other hand, she's got my arm. And she pulls me in close to her. And of course, that very sweet voice, she's got my arm. And she pulls me in close to her. And of course, that very sweet voice fades to a very angry voice, a very low voice. And she pulls me close to her. And she says, do you understand everything you do? And that just scared me to death.
And you took that to mean she knew.
I've always thought that. People come back to me and say, well, how do you know that's what she meant? You would have had to have been there. You would have to have been standing where I was. And that woman looking straight in my eyes, very angrily saying that to me. I felt like at that moment she knew everything and was saying, you better keep quiet. There's just nothing that can change my mind.
Wow. You don't recover from something like this.
No. It's been hard. I've had a good life. I have a good family. I have a wonderful church. I have wonderful friends. But this just stays there in the back of your mind. You can't ever get rid of something like that.
You recently were quoted saying you're afraid if she becomes president.
Oh,
Why?
definitely.
What, because of,
yeah.
You don't know what she's capable of? Or?
I don't know what she's capable of. I know what she's done to me in the past, but I don't know what she's capable of.
And coming up, part 2 of my interview with Juanita Broderick, Paula Jones, and Kathleen Willey. Plus, we're going to get reaction to my exclusive interview with Judge Jeanine Pirro, Mercedes Schlapp, and Doug Schoen. All coming up tonight right here on Hannity. And welcome back to Hannity. Here's part 2 of my interview with 3 of Bill Clinton's accusers, Juanita Broderick, Paula Jones, and Kathleen Willey. Take a look.
Paula, your case resulting in the impeachment of Bill Clinton. You got an $850,000 settlement as a result of your case. Tell us your story. He was the Attorney General then at the time.
No, he was the governor.
I thought he was the governor at the time.
He was the governor
Okay.
at the time. And I was asked to work the governor's quality management conference with another lady there from the office. It was at a hotel. It was called the Accuser Hotel at the time. The governor was late, and I think he was notoriously late. A lot of times he was known for that. And he came up, and the press, the little local press, was trying to give him an interview and everything, and it was out in front of us, out in front of our table.
Right.
Well, he was kind of staring at us, staring at me and my coworker a lot. And then he, you know, after all that he went in, and we were out there, and the state police, his security was there hanging out with us. And later that day, before the end of it, he came over and he said, the governor would like to meet with you. I didn't know why, but I was excited. And he said, it's okay, we do this all the time. Well, that made me feel comfortable. I knew it was the state police. He had a gun. And I thought, well, nothing's going to happen. I mean, they're going to be, you know, I'm going to be safe. So he took me up there to the room. I walked in, and we introduced ourselves, whatever. And
Just you, not your friend.
no, I was by myself. No, she never was asked to go up there.
Just you.
I was by myself, escorted up to the room with the state police, who was his security. We did some small talk, and then he started kind of getting a little comfortable and trying to, he said that he loved the way my hair flowed down my back of my clothes, and he liked my curves, and then I'm like, that at that point, that was, I didn't know what to do. I mean, this is a governor telling you this stuff.
Where was the security guard at this point?
He was still outside. It was just me and him in the room. And I went on over to try to, I'm thinking, how can I do to distract him? How can I do to distract this situation? And I knew he was sitting out there, knew he had a gun. And so at this point in time, I'm getting a little nervous. So I walked over to the window, and I was looking out at the river. I said, oh my, this is a beautiful view from up here up here at the river. And so he said, yeah, kind of trying to small talk, me. And then he leaned up and he pulled me up towards him, and he was going to try to kiss on me. And so then I tried to distract him again. And I thought, what am I doing? My mind is racing so fast that I don't realize what was even going on. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is not happening. And I said, well, I may need to be going or something. And next thing you know, he pulled down he sat down, pulled down his pants, his whole everything, and he was exposed. And I said, I'm not that kind of girl, and I need to be getting back to my desk.
And did you walk out then?
I was trying to, and then when he got his pants up and everything, I was trying to walk over. He rushed over and he grabbed the door facing to where I couldn't get out. And he said, you're a smart girl, let's keep this between ourselves. And of course, I didn't have any intentions of really telling anybody. I was scared at that point. I walked out, and the trooper was sitting there with a smirk on his face.
It's pretty amazing now when you go back in retrospect, and people, I think, are hearing this a lot for the first time. Kathleen, this was the worst day of your life. You had, like all of you, you were supporting Clinton. At this point now, he's in the White House. He's the president of the United States. You were going through a troubled time, and your husband has some financial issues, and you want a job. And he knew you well enough that he gave you an appointment in the Oval Office with him, correct?
Right, we were friends.
Right.
We had started Virginians for Clinton. We gave him office space in our law suite. We raised an awful lot of money for him. And I helped arrange organize the inaugural. I mean, we were all in for the Clintons. And it was the Monday after Thanksgiving. My husband had gotten himself into a lot of trouble, and financially, and he could have been disbarred, and it could have led to some serious, legal problems. And I just told my family that I was going to go to the White House the following Monday, the Monday after Thanksgiving, and ask to see the president and ask for a job. By the time I got in to see him, Clinton, I was in a real state, and I was crying. And I sat down in the Oval Office with him at his desk, and he said, I know you're upset. Would you like to, I have a little private kitchen in the back. Would you like some coffee? And I said, yes. I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with that at all. And so we went back there, and he fixed me coffee, and he said, let's go in here to my little private study where we can have more privacy. Well, where do you get more privacy than the Oval Office when you think about it? But anyway, he went in, and he sat down on the sofa or chair or anything, and I never sat down. I leaned up against the door jamb, and I proceeded to tell him what was going on, and that I said, I can't volunteer anymore. I need a job. I knew I had a very short window, so I'm fitting it all in as quickly as I can. And I kept saying, I know you're busy. I know you have another meeting waiting for you. Thank you for seeing me. I'd better go. And I headed back out the hall to go back to the door that led into the Oval Office. And he took my coffee cup from me and put it on a desk or a table. And the next thing I knew, he had me backed into a corner. And, you know, hands all over me, trying to kiss me, whispering in my ear. You know, and I was like, what do you do? What do you do? And my mind was racing, and I thought, should I slap him, or should I kick him, or knee him, or, you know, what do I do? Scream? You know, is the Secret Service going to come in and descend upon me with guns? I mean, you don't know.
How long did this go on for?
God, it seemed like it was forever, but, you know, maybe, God, 4 or 5 minutes, maybe.
And so he's groping, grabbing, touching, fondling,
right. And he's
kissing.
a big man, you know, and I'm not big, and I'm little, and I'm trying to get out, and I'm trying to do it with some dignity, because it's still the president, you know, and I'm still thinking, what is he doing? He's still the president, and I'm stuck here, and what do I do? What do you do?
How did you get out?
There was that one slight moment of distraction, and I got out of there. I got out of there as fast as I could.
All three of you, in your own way, have said you fear Hillary being the president.
Absolutely.
Why?
Why wouldn't we? I mean, there's been so many things happen to so many people that are connected to the Clintons, and we are...
You feel for your life.
Absolutely, I feel that way if she becomes the president, because she's going to rule the world.
And coming up, reaction to our exclusive interviews with Kathy Sheldon, Juanita Broderick, Paula Jones, and Kathleen Willey. We'll check in with Judge Jeanine Pirro, Mercedes Schlapp, and Doug Schoen. They're next. Plus, Trump is holding nothing back on the campaign trail. Today, he reacted to new allegations that were brought against him. That and more straight ahead. And welcome back to Hannity. Now, we reached out to the Clinton campaign for comment about Kathy Sheldon and Bill Clinton's 3 accusers, and they actually provided us with a statement that they had released before the second presidential debate. Now, they attacked Donald Trump's campaign and stated that Hillary Clinton is, quote, prepared to handle whatever Donald Trump throws her way. Now, we also reached out to President Bill Clinton's office as well for comment. Never heard back. Joining us now with reaction, Fox News contributor Mercedes Schlapp, former Clinton pollster, Fox News contributor Doug Schoen, the host of Justice, Judge Jeanine Pirro. You were there for the Kathy Sheldon interview in particular, and I looked over at you. You were mad. I know you.
Yeah, you do know me. Look, I spent 30 years prosecuting child molesters, pedophiles, rapists. Kathy Sheldon's story took me back to the courtrooms where these horrors that young girls who were victimized by these predators, and in this case, the predator represented by Hillary Clinton, who laughs about the fact that, you know, he passed a lie detector and he got away with it. And then there is this thing that's very curious to me, Sean, and that is the inability for the defense to have enough evidence to test. And I have to wonder whether or not there is more evidence and more information to suggest that there might have been more there initially, but not enough subsequently. And also the claim where she trashed the victim. And this is what defense attorneys do. Women who promote other women and say that they fight for children's rights and women's rights don't trash a 6th grader who was raped into a coma for 5 days, saying that she seeks the company of men like her rapist and that she's emotionally unstable. This is horrific. And Kathy Sheldon took me back to those days as a prosecutor.
When you hear her saying, oh, he passed the lie detector, of course, which forever destroyed my faith in lie detectors, and laughs, Doug, I mean, that is brutal.
I have a couple of reactions. First, Roy Reid, who was the interviewer, said the left did not have anything to do with that. I wasn't there.
All I just aired it, so I mean, it's clear,
No,
transparent.
I've heard
the callousness, the casualness of it.
I've heard the tape. She was a public defender doing her job. Maybe it was callous and maybe it was wrong, but I can tell you this, Sean, has nothing to do with how this election will be decided.
What do you think, Mercedes, if she's the champion of women's rights? Is that how you champion women's rights, by smearing and slandering them and then trying and working and using every skill at your disposal to get off somebody you believe is guilty?
Well, I think that Hillary Clinton has just made this decision that all focus is going to be on Donald Trump, and obviously with the audio tape that came out about the groping, and this is her political play, Sean. So there is no room in the media chaos, other than in certain outlets, to talk about Kathy Shelton and to talk about these other women actually who were sexually assaulted and raped by a former president, her husband, Bill Clinton, who happens to be a key advisor and a primary surrogate
but Mercedes,
for Hillary
look at what
Clinton.
WikiLeaks is showing us, that the media is an extension of Clinton. And interestingly, I think the most telling thing that Juanita, Paula, and Kathleen said tonight was they've never been asked to be interviewed this entire election cycle. Not one time.
Right, and I think that it just shows where the media they've made their decision, Sean. They want to go with Hillary. They want to destroy Donald Trump. That is why WikiLeaks is getting not even close to the coverage that we're seeing Donald Trump and all these sexual allegations against him. It is now becoming a politics of sex and not about issues.
We got to take a break. More with our panel coming up right after this, and also coming up next tonight.
These vicious claims about me of inappropriate conduct with women are totally and absolutely false.
Donald Trump fighting back against allegations made against him, and then later, WikiLeaks releases 2,000 more emails from Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. We're going to show you what they say, those new revelations, and much more tonight as Hannity continues.
So now we address the slander and libels that was just last night thrown at me by the Clinton machine and the New York Times and other media outlets as part of a concerted, coordinated, and vicious attack. These vicious claims about me of inappropriate conduct with women are totally and absolutely false. We already have substantial evidence to dispute these lies, and it will be made public in an appropriate way and at an appropriate time very soon.
Donald Trump earlier today on the campaign trail responding to allegations made against him. We continue with Mercedes Schlapp, Doug Schoen, and Judge Jeanine Pirro. So in the middle of the WikiLeaks dump that shows basically the media is in the tank, NBC, ABC, Washington Post, New York Times, Boston Globe, CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, all these people in the media, they ignored the women we're talking about tonight, but they go after these women, and lo and behold, it comes out right in the middle of the WikiLeaks dump. Coincidence?
No, this is obviously something that was planned. They held on to it. We know they held on to that audio so that they could then, overcome in some sense what was going on with WikiLeaks. And I think about, as you were talking about the media, they're supposed to be the fourth estate. They're supposed to keep us all honest.
Oh, they're in the tank.
And I think that not only are they in the tank, but forevermore in this country, the Americans cannot look at the media as an objective, fair, and honest group of people who are looking out for us.
Let's just pretend, I know this will be hard, pretend you're a Donald Trump supporter right now. Okay. And you see the coordination. Sure. You see the collusion with every major news outlet and the Clinton campaign.
I do.
Okay, and you're a Trump supporter. Then what are you thinking?
Here's what I'm thinking. All of this is a distraction. All of this takes away attention from the secretary's low approval rating.
That's right.
60% don't trust her, don't think she's fit. But the Clintons, as I've said here many times, play seriously. They play to win. They spend what they need to do.
And they play dirty.
And unless Donald Trump...
You didn't say that. They play dirty.
Look, they play to win.
that means playing dirty.
You could characterize it how you want.
Mercedes, go ahead.
They play dirty. I think for the Clintons, look, Sean, they're winning the narrative right now. They're winning the narrative with women, with suburban moms, with older women. The mere fact that they have been able to shift the focus on Donald Trump and his these alleged sexual attacks on women.
What is he supposed to do? The media's against him. The Republicans are against him. The Democrats are against him. What's he supposed to do?
Spend money. Spend on TV.
It's besides spending money.
Big money.
You know what, Mercedes? I agree with Doug. He has got to get his message out there. He's got to fight the media. He is not winning this fight right now.
What I would tell him in private, put up $200 million, run your message on spots if you're serious about winning.
Don't stop.
Every day you're talking about fighting the party and every day you're
talking
about
the Clintons aren't stopping.
All right.
They're not going to stop.
They fight to win.
When we come back, more WikiLeaks released another 2,000 emails allegedly belonging once again to Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta. Will explain what the documents reveal now as our panel responds straight ahead. And welcome back to Hannity. So WikiLeaks released another 2,000 more damning emails, allegedly from the personal account of Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. Revelations, well, they have not been good for the Democratic nominee. We continue with Mercedes Schlapp, Doug Schoen, Judge Jeanine. You want to go back to the women. You wanted to say something.
You know, the three women, Juanita Broderick and Kathy Wiley, as well as Paula Jones, what people don't say about them, Sean, is that there is corroboration. All they say about Juanita Broderick is she recanted. Well, first of all, I prosecuted rape cases for 30 years. They recant. But what they don't say is that, number one, Juanita Broderick was found with ripped clothes, ripped nylons, a swollen face by her roommate. The people who came to her immediately, she said, yes, I was raped. And then when the Clinton State Police from Arkansas came, she recanted. But then with the Fed, she said it was true. Absolute corroboration. Yeah. The same with Kathy Wiley. Corroboration by her friends. Immediate outcry.
Paula Jones was able to identify distinguishing characters.
Yeah. Right, there is corroboration.
And none of that matters. It's the secretary who's on the ballot, not Bill Clinton. And when the allegations that Jeanine is making were put publicly in '98, Bill Clinton was at his highest levels of approval. We won the congressional election.
So you think in the next 26 days it's got to be issues? That's what you're saying. You're saying it matters, but you're saying that...
I'm saying you want to win the election, you use the issues like immigration, free trade, the economy, and focus.
Hillary's not even talking about the issues. Let's be real. What she's talking about is keep pushing forward these stories on Donald Trump.
She should.
Coordinated with the media. It works. It's a working strategy for the Clintons right now. And so Donald Trump, he needs to go back, I think, to the kitchen table issues and say, look, we're getting all distracted by all this controlled media.
And you know what else? I mean, Christians and Catholics in this country need to be outraged.
They talk about infiltrating the Catholic Church for the purpose of causing
you need targeted communication, and you need money. So far, Donald has none of it.
He needs to spend it.
He's not serious.
Yes, he is.
No, he isn't.
Yes.